Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show as we catch our breath from... Ooh, that was a big first segment.
Oh, yes.
Wow. What was your highlight?
My highlight was your opener. I thought it was great.
It was actually, yeah. That's very astute of you, actually, Nathan, because it was outstanding. As were the Bombers last night. Just when you thought they were written off, don't ever do that, because they came back in emphatic fashion last night at the expense of North Melbourne.
They were really good, and their young players like McGrath flying at the moment, 25 disposals. Good to see Devon Smith playing some pretty good footy, 23. Zaharakis back in some form, 3 goals. Langford kicked a couple of nice ones. Goldstein was very good for the Kangaroos. Hall had 23. Simpkin continues to have a wonderful year, as I said.
Every player?
Toddy Goldstein. Well, people just like to find out what's going on. But we've got a very special guest in Hub Life at the moment, Michael Hurley from the Bobbers. Welcome, Michael. 2 weeks in a row now, you've ground out a very good victory, first against Collingwood and last night against the Kangaroos.
Yeah, it's been pleasing. 2 sort of slippery games the last 2 weeks. We've had to grind it out, but it's been nice to get the wins.
And just mentioned off the top, a lot of your young players are starting to really find their feet. McGrath's been very good. Darcy Parish again. Ridley, I thought, had one of his best games last night.
Yeah, those guys have been huge for us. Obviously playing alongside Jordan Ridley. To see his growth in the last sort of month or so has been fantastic. Darcy around the ball is great, and Pidge is a real leader, so the guys have gone really well.
Hey, Mick, it was a great win because, no Jake Stringer, no Joe Danaher. You're pretty small down there in defence, but we're seeing Jaden Laverty kick a goal here. You had to manufacture goals. Your defence is strong, your midfield's strong, but you found a way to score. Even Jacob Townsend had to play pretty tall for you last night.
Yeah, that's right. Probably a little bit undersized in our forward half, but those guys are really competing hard. You mentioned sort of Towno, the way that he brings the ball to the ground and brings the smalls into play has been great. And yeah, the back line's holding up well, and the guys around the ball have been helping us out, so it's been good.
And we're just watching some match highlights here, which is going to ask you about your own form, speaking of the back line, because been outstanding. We might just have to pad for a little bit before we show your highlights, Hurls. But your form, mate, and your back line has been outstanding.
Yeah, the guys we're holding up really well. Pretty happy with the way the midfield's been putting pressure on the ball. And
no, pump yourself up. I want to hear you pump yourself up.
No, not me. It's the guys like Kale Hooker, Jordan Ridley. These guys are the ones that are playing really good footy.
Hey, speaking of good footy, David Zaharakis hasn't been in the best form this year, hasn't been getting on the end of it, very low stats, but last night, David Zaharakis of old, 20-odd disposals, kicked 3 goals, and he looked excited. He's looked a little bit down in the dumps through his form, and he's had his head down, but last night, it was good to see that smile back on his dial.
Yeah, it was really great to see Dave do well. Pretty tough role, that high forward role, unrewarding at times. The way that he's been able to sort of lead the group as well, last sort of few weeks, he might not be on the end of it, but he's been strong with his leadership, and it was great to see him kick a few last night.
Michael, Dylan Shield, best on ground last week, quieter last night when being tagged, but Darcy Parish is slotting very nicely into that creative midfield role now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's really good around the ball, Darcy. I think the time that he spent 40 is dangerous for us as well, so to be able to sort of throw him in the midfield and be around the ball is good, and then to go forward, and I think he finds the goals as well, so he's turning into a really good player for us.
Michael, do you expect, while that you're on the road now in this Hub Life, that the return of Joe Danaher might come inside that time frame?
Not exactly sure the time frame for Joe. He's obviously moving around pretty well at the moment, but he's been out of the game for a long time, so I'm sure the guys that are in charge are just sort of running through his program and getting him in the best condition he can be to be back and playing footy again.
Michael, do you thrive on the underdog status? I intimated in the intro the fact that we're all too willing to write you off, and then you bounce back, you have that win over Collingwood, but still people weren't convinced, and then last night, now everyone's talking about the Bombers.
Yeah, a fair bit can change in a couple of weeks. For us, we don't really talk about that sort of thing. We're trying to build a system, trying to build our connection, and trying to improve every week, and if that's wins, that's great. If it's not, then we'll keep cracking in.
Do you talk about when you have to make that game up? Is there any talk about that, or just the AFL will tell you?
No, not particularly. See, at the moment, it's a pretty moving beast. So for us, it's just focusing on the next week. It's a pretty big cliche, but we've seen so many things change in a pretty short time frame. We're just trying to work on 1 week at a time, I guess.
Hey, Hurls, my understanding is that the Carlton Football Club may have to leave the Gold Coast and head to Perth soon and play part of their 32 days in Perth. Have you been told whether you'll be staying on the Gold Coast or you also may be moving to another state in that period?
Nah, not really. As far as we know, that we'll be in in the Gold Coast for the whole time. But as I said, that might change. We might get told in a week or so we have to pack our bags. But if that's the case, we'll embrace it and we'll crack into it.
Let's have a look at the votes from last night's game, Hurls, and I got you in there. I thought you were fantastic. Dave Zaharakis got an 8 as well. McGrath, Goldstein and Darcy Parish. Well done, Michael.
Hang on, he's not
Where's
right there.
Hurley?
Yes, he can't see that, though.
Oh, Nathan.
Yeah, I know, but everyone else
He
can.
doesn't have a TV screen.
Oh, that's deception.
How cowardly is that?
He's got vision.
Has he?
He's got vision
well
up
done,
there.
Hurls. You're in my votes.
And his beard is a lot better than yours. Is that fluff?
Now, that is embarrassing, Nathan. Oh, there you go. He's hung up. Oh, there he is. He's back again now. All right, thanks very much, and good luck wherever this crazy season might take you, and good luck for the rest of it.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Michael Hurley, joining us there from the Gold Coast.